So for me, and this is for the record, mtu mwenye niliamini alikuwa anapigania hii kitu ile genuinely was Kasmuel Oure. It is only Kasmuel I knew that was fighting for this genuinely. On that day you saw how he ran at Nation Center. Mpaka watu wakasema tu ni Kasmuel Bolt. Yeah, so I think Kasmuel had been fighting genuinely, but what happened is along the way, just like man also fell in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, Kasmuel might have fallen. Then the other issue is we have to strengthen our institutions. How?
True.
IBC. You look at IBC. How did IBC clear some of the people we see in parliament are of questionable characters?
Very.
Somebody even did Form 4 before doing Class 8. How did IBC clear such a character? So we have to strengthen our institution. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. They have powers to do investigate.
Yes.
Wakishakupata when corrupt, what else? They refer you to someone else. The someone else they refer you to is bribed. So we also have to give commissions such as the EACC powers to prosecute. Otherwise, they shall remain toothless dogs. Na juzi umeona tena baba amesema that Adani is a reputable company. Sasa wewe ni wise kushinda baba.
But let's just be factual here. Adani is not whatever we think.
What have I been using if not facts, my brother? It is facts because the same Adani company is the same one that has been doing electricity projects in India. India has a capacity of over 20,000 kilometers lines of transmission lines. Adani is worth $200 billion. Adani is the same company that has done projects in Australia and even in Israel. So you want to say Kenya is more advanced than countries such as Israel, India, and even Australia? My friend, let us not be emotional about this thing. Yes, let us only deal with facts. Facts alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, good people of the internet, it's Burudani 14, Mr. Sugar Spice and everything nice, with another episode. Na leo we want to make it a bit political because hii channel yetu tunataka tuchanuane kama vijana, tujue pia tuongelee vitu zina make sense. Si kila time tunapiga story ya mapenzi hapa. Leo pia tuongelee vitu serious kidogo. And with me I have a special guest all the way from hata sijui niseme nini. He has a lot of accolades under his name. He's a former MCA aspirant. He's a senior student at the Technical University of Kenya. He's a legislator. He's everything. Wacha tu ajiintroduce. Mr. Tonny Blaire.
Yes, thank you.
Ambia watu wewe ni nani?
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Tonny Blaire Onyango, and I'm happy to be here today. I'm a senior wise man at the Technical University of Kenya.
Yes.
Former aspirant, candidate Landimawe Ward, Starehe constituency. That was in 2022. I'm a former school representative, School of Electrical Electronics at the Technical University of Kenya, a period in which I was a student leader of the year. Currently the chairperson of Mwangi Comrades Alliance. I think that will do for now.
Thank you so much. Now, before we started shooting, we were speaking about activism. Na tulikuwa kwa story ya situation ya Kasmuel. So what are your thoughts on situation ya Kasmuel? What he's getting from the internet, from the people, and versus the decision that he has decided to take? Because I understand you're also a good follower of Mr. Raila Odinga, former Prime Minister.
I think Kasmuel is in a very difficult position right now, especially because Kenyans are very impatient people. So sometimes they like you because of the activism that you do. And you find that for you to sustain hizi vitu unafanya as an activist, sometimes you need resources. So when they don't give you those resources, you find kunakuwa na temptations along the way. It might be that Kasmuel pia alipata one of these temptations, akasema let me get this, that is why we've seen him of late amekuwa na kinara au vitu kama hizo. Mi siwezi blame, I can't blame Kasmuel. Because at the end of the day, politics is about interest.
True.
So we have elevated Kasmuel to a level yenye amekuwa a celeb, and he has earned that one because of the hard work he has been doing. So we must also give him time to make his own personal decisions. Kasmuel had a life before akuja into the limelight, sindio? So what Kasmuel is contending with ni vitu zenye zishafanyika in the past, and I think saizi ndiye amerealize that he has also got a life to live. Let's give him time, man.
Yeah. Do you think as Gen Zs we are very impatient with...
Absolutely, we are very impatient. The time that, you see, we've been having a series of other activists, kina Nifa, kina Nini, but kina Boniface Mwangi. The moment to kina Nini, they said that you know as young people we need to have a political party. Si Kenyans waliwa bash, the Gen Z say, no, how... We said we are leaderless. Who are you now that you want to form a political party? No, we don't want that one. But you see, the right thing to do as Gen Zs would have been to form a party, because the constitution stipulates very well that for us to engage in political processes, we must board the political vehicles ambazo ni political parties.
Yes.
So it would be very wrong to assume that we can engage inclusively in political affairs without boarding these political parties. So idea kina Nini was very brilliant, but you saw what happened. Immediately they said we are forming the next gen party. No, we don't want. We are leaderless. So Kenyans, we also have to understand, especially as Gen Z, that we can also be wrong. And we have to give people time, and we have to allow ourselves to be led. We can't have a revolution in any leaderless that is as we are. No, it can't happen. Here you is. And that is why you see the government has succeeded in defeating the Gen Zs as it is.
Interesting. Now, when it comes to the notion of leaderlessness, and we've seen it in the past, we've seen it with Raila Odinga during the 1992. And do you think that as sisi kama Gen Zs, tuko na wase pale frontline, tuko na wase kama Kasmuel, tuko na wase kama Morara, Hanifa, do you think our say, the trust that is there between us na wao, do you think say wakifika huko mbele will they at some point change? Because you see politics, it's very unpredictable. Do you think, like, tukiwape hiyo chance ya kuform sasa political party, do you think that they can maybe fuck us up in future?
That's a difficult one. Unajua watu pia, people are different, you know. And tukiwa second year tulikuwa tunafanya, there was a topic we used to be taught by some professor back then at Duke, alikuwa anaitwa Theophilus, about ilikuwa inaitwa argumentum ad something, which is the doctrine of the, how do you call them? The fallacy of hasty generalization. That is to mean that you use me as representative of the entire populace. If you elect me today and I betray you, it does not mean that every young person will give an opportunity to betray. What do I mean? That Kasmuel may be different from Morara, Morara may be different from Hanifa, and Hanifa may be different from Boniface Mwangi. What we have seen in the past is that some of these people, we give them opportunity wakienda, wanatuserve. So I think that is what brought this notion of leaderless. People don't want to be led. Gen Zs hawako wanataka kuwa led because they know, ama they assume that when I give you an opportunity to go and represent me at the higher seat, that higher table that Babu has been talking about, utapata kwamba atasahau interest zetu, anaongelea zake. So I think that is the danger that, the only thing that can address that one is that we have to give people the benefit of doubt, to assume Mwasa akienda pale mbele, he'll remember us. Because we can't judge you based on the behavior watu wengine. So for me, and this is for the record, mtu mwenye niliamini alikuwa anapigania hii kitu ile genuinely was Kasmuel Oure. It is only Kasmuel I knew that was fighting for this genuinely. On that day you saw how he ran at Nation Center. Mpaka watu wakasema tu ni Kasmuel Bolt. Yeah, so I think Kasmuel had been fighting genuinely, but what happened is along the way, just like man also fell in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, Kasmuel might have fallen.
Now, I had something in mind, and I'd want you just to imagine. Now, assuming, let's take it back to collaboration time, and back then when we were fighting for independence. If I was reading about Nabongo Mumia, now he was a funny man because Nabongo collaborated because he was given a bicycle by the white man. Now he decided to collaborate. Now, if you were there in that colonial time, how would you react? Because you see, a bicycle was a big deal.
Now I'm Nabongo.
You're Nabongo.
I think we can't blame Nabongo because at that particular moment in time, we do not know the circumstances thereof. You see, so some of the things we do in politics, you have to be empathetic in the sense that you have to put yourself in the shoes of what that person did. You see, so you don't know maybe why Nabongo needed this bicycle. Maybe it is through this bicycle that Nabongo would be able to rule his chiefdom or kingdom for that matter.
Yes.
So I think everything is circumstantial, especially in politics.
Yeah.
The dynamics and forces of balance shift from time to time. So because we are not there, and because we do not know, we may not know the exact, the accurate side of the story, we can't run to judge him. But of course, in the history books, he's judged as somebody who has collaborated with the oppressor, and for that reason is wrong. But there's a lesson to be learned from Nabongo. You see, that there's one thing we normally say in politics, that loyalty is rewarded in installments, and then disloyalty is punished instantly. So maybe that was part of the rewards that Nabongo was receiving for working the cordial relationship he had with the white men then. So we have, as a generation, to be loyal to the spirits of the Constitution, or what drives us as a people.
Yes.
Anything that is considered betrayal to the people should be the last resort. And that one is a challenge even to the young generation right now. That as we are blaming the current crop of leaders, what is it that we have also done to make the situation better than we found it?
Yeah. True. And do you think now in that, because you mentioned something interesting, in the spirit of the Constitution, do you think our Constitution is best for our country? Like, do you think it is tailored and meant for Kenya?
Absolutely. I think our Constitution is incredible. Only that we have got so many policies that have not been implemented or enforced to the extent that we feel we need to create more. I don't think we need any more laws. If anything, our Constitution has been rated as to be amongst the best.
In the world.
And the only challenge I think I foresee is that our problem is copy-pasting. We go to the British system and we look at what they're doing in their country, we come and then we copy-paste it. Yet, what we are going through in Kenya might not necessarily be the same situation in their country. So our challenge is copy-pasting. What we need to be doing is we go, we benchmark, then we tailor-make whatever we see from those developed countries to fit into our context. So it is a very good constitution, only that we as a people have not adjusted as to the standards of that constitution. So I think in some way, in some degree, our constitution is ahead of us. You see, is ahead of us. That is
true. Because when you look at things like, and we had mentioned this earlier before we started rolling, why is it hard to impeach an MP as it is to impeach a deputy president? You see?
True.
Because in an MP situation, you need signatures, you need what, but when it's a deputy president, you only need the votes.
I think you have put it very clearly that part of these obstacles we are seeing are actually deliberate, because the MPs are the legislative arm of the government, which is supposed to be oversighting the executive.
Yes.
These people have deliberately come up with so many obstacles so that it has become almost close to impossible. Almost impossible to impeach an MP. Why? Number one, you need to go to court to prove that this person has contravened this law. Number two, you have to collect signatures, not just from when they say 30% of the registered voters of that constituency, they do not mean just 30%. They mean 30% from all the wards in that constituency, which is a very tedious process.
True.
Number two, you don't know in which form IBC will tell you to bring the signatures. They may say, give us the voters card or maybe the national IDs of those registered voters within that jurisdiction. So it is almost close to impossible. That is why most Kenyans have been discouraged. Not that it is not possible, it is possible, but now the bottlenecks involved in impeaching these people makes it very, very difficult. Yeah. As opposed to the one for deputy president, whereby, and then you see that especially for the impeachment of the deputy president, it is unprecedented. We've never had it before. So most of the impeachment motions are normally instigated by the state. You see, that is why it becomes even easier to push. You see, you heard the other time it was said that we have state capture.
Yes.
That the parliament is being controlled from State House.
Yes.
And yesterday I even saw some meme going around about the mover of the motion about the impeachment of the deputy president. Yeah. And in which he was saying that he has not received communication from State House. Immediately he receives communication. If he doesn't receive communication, then he will not proceed to the Senate. You see,
Yes.
so it actually pains. It reflects negatively or poorly on the legislatures to the kind of conduct. You know, you can't compare this parliament with the parliament we had, that the parliament that had the speaker Kenneth Maren.
It was very When Boni Halwale was there,
Boni Halwale.
Akina Babu na Mwamba.
Even Akina, you are forgetting this, Kina Horwa Ojode.
Yeah.
Even Akina Jakoyo Midigo of game. When Parliament was
Parliament, yes.
Leave alone these people nowadays. You see somebody is a member of Parliament, he only posts for us drinking alcohol. What are those? We used to have parliamentarians of substance.
True.
And the Speaker of the National Assembly used to command a lot of respect. When Kenneth Marende said order, it was order.
Yeah.
Nowadays, our speakers they are hitting below the belt.
They are called...
Something needs to be done. And you saw on the 25th of June,
yes.
They ran away when the Gen Z stormed Parliament.
True. And okay, now because we are there, let's talk about that. Do you think whatever happened on the 25th, do you think it was a deliberate move from the side of the ones like when you're tunapinga Ruto? Do you think it was a deliberate move? Like wase where the forces when you walikuwa around wali allow wase waingie? Ama do you think it was just like ilipata Ruto by surprise?
I think, to be honest, President Ruto had underrated the Gen Zs. But although I also believe that to some extent, they might have been assisted by some external force. External in the sense that we are people who might not have been Gen Zs, but were part of the crowd. And I think for the 25th case, it was mobilized heavily. And you saw the aftermath that there were people who were arrested and arraigned at the DCI for being involved in the demos. So, number one, the president ignored, or I don't know whether ignored, but he was aware.
He was
aware
that... Not what Gachagua said later that the president was not briefed.
No, the president was briefed. The president was aware of the impending danger. Only that the president has underrated. You see, even to the run-up of these demonstrations, we have people who said that these people used to come to mandamanos in Ubers. They used to come with water bottles, and then they talk. Then there was this video of this lady saying, "Why do you tear gas a body?" You remember? So the president didn't know that these Gen Zs could do what they did on the 25th.
Yes.
And I think that is why you saw the deputy president later on calling a press statement and saying that the DCI and the intelligence did not brief the president. No, that was not the case. These people knew that these people are regrouping there, but they didn't know that it would be that big, you see. Because on the 25th, I was on the streets. I was on the streets, but I was not there to demonstrate on that day. I was there to see. I was there to see what was going to take place. Yes. So, because I was on this other side, Uhuru Highway, and then there was a group that was already in town. Yes, and I remember the moment this group, Uhuru Highway, overpowered the policemen up around Neno, and then they joined the other group in town. That is the moment these people stormed Parliament. You see? Na nile time yenye tear gas iliishia ama polisi wa Neno wakaingia hivi, then people started saying bana tuingie hapa ndani. So I think hiyo underrate my Gen Zs is something that the government had to expect. And then as I said earlier on, there was help from somewhere. Yes. You tell me, where did people get these flags za Kenya all of a sudden? Na flags zinafanana zote. And then mashati pia zimeandikwa Kenya sijui. You see? And I think when these people stormed Parliament now, something had to be done. The members of Parliament walikuwa pale ndani. You see, these people have stormed Parliament. It was at that moment ndio nikaona wale the Reke squad. Wakishuka hapo chini hapo kwa Haile Selassie. My friend, I knew it was bad. Within 20 minutes, town was silent. Mabadi walitembea mpaka Thika.
We walked home. I walked home.
I walked to South B, which was not very far, but now nilikuwa nahurumia watu wanatoka side za Githurai.
Ndio sisi hapa.
Ile walipukia hiyo sisi.
But later on, now coming to look at it, do you think that day the military will come and like shoot down the protesters?
No, I don't think that would have been the case. You know, the president just needed to show these people that, look, I'm still in control of this country. That is what the picture was trying to portray. But it will be very unlikely for the military. You know, the military is supposed to protect us from external aggression. So to see them coming into these internal feuds was uncalled for. So I don't think the president really intended that. What he wanted to do is to send, because immediately the military came on the streets, we began seeing people clapping and cheering and saying, look, by the way, si hatuna maubaya. We're just trying to express our democratic right, you see. So I don't think that is what the president intended to do. But again, something had to be done. It was at that desperate moment. You don't know what these people are up to. They have stormed parliament, they are banning a section of it, and I think that is the moment tukaanza kuona masniper wana shoot. Actually, that was very sad. May God rest the soul of those who lost their lives in eternal peace. It was not in vain. And for me, that is like, it brought us into a new chapter. And you saw that even after the demonstrations 25th, other countries started following, copying what we had done as a country. Yeah. You remember the Ugandans also? The Ugandans tried, but
Museveni said
waletokea watu 14. Wakashikwa kaambia bwana, you are playing with fire. And then there were even claims that Museveni was helping Ruto to quell the which is not confirmed anyway, that he was trying to help President Ruto.
Just allegations.
Yeah, those are just allegations. But for me, my takeaway was that at least what happened was something that had been unprecedented, and we saw that later on countries like Uganda started following suit, the Gen Zs in Uganda, in as much as they didn't succeed, we saw now actually the Bangladesh to a greater extent was inspired by the Kenyans, you see. Although they were demonstrating for a different thing, but it was largely inspired by us. And then we saw even the Nigerians. Nigerians also had the Bola Tinubu must go. Yeah, and I think that is where I was also amused to see the government of Nigeria giving the demonstrators rice, bags of rice to go back home. So if you think you've seen it all, welcome to Africa, my brother.
Welcome to Africa. Yeah. Now let's talk about Africa. Now, how different do you think, or how different or how same do you think politics in Africa is as a whole?
I think it has changed in a greater way. And for me, the greatest thing I have seen is that leaders have started having a bit of manners now. Before the Gen Z protest, we saw leaders coming to Harambes with sacks of money, stolen money. We also saw some of them spending a lot of money in their personal initiatives, and this is money that these people cannot account for. And I think that inspired the rage that we saw in Eldoret. People attacked Timber RX Yasudi. And remember, one of the reasons why Kenyans were very angry was because this is the same person who had gone to Anarambe. I can contribute 20M. Now tell me, this is somebody can contribute 20M. We have schools that are still mud thatched. We have children who do not have lockers in this country. So that is part of. So after that demonstration, we have seen leaders nowadays, they just don't give money that way. And even so, President Ruto coming later on and banning harambes. Hakuna kutoa pesa kwa maharambe ama vitu kama hizo. So I think there is some decorum, some decency that has been instilled in our politics. Still we have not reached, but at least that is a step in the right direction. But of course, the better thing is that we have seen young people getting interested in political activities. Right now, any bill that is being passed in parliament, unaona, majamaa wako like, hii ni bill gani wanataka kupass? Hebu acha ni check. Watu wamekesha tu kwa website za parliament saizi. You've seen even in the case ya impeachment saizi. People are like, ati anataka ku impeach sababu gani? Ati tribalism. Kuna proceedings lini, people are following. So I think Kenyan, especially the Kenyan youth and even the Africans in general, they are becoming politically conscious. And for me that is very, very incredible. And I'm hoping that this is going to be part of what is going to shape the politics of 2027. We were blamed for not voting in 2022. I have a testimony. About the young people that registered. For me personally, in the area I was contesting for. When the election date arrived, these people are not there to be seen, you see. So IBC from its report is saying that around 8 million young people did not vote. So you tell me, what is the kind of change we can impact if these 8 million people voted? It means we can have our own president. If we have somebody who is serious and we say this is somebody that is as unquestionable character, we can vote for him and make him the president. So I think for me, that is something I'm looking up to in the future, and I'm hoping it is going to come to pass. Especially as a result of the agitation we've had throughout this year.
Now, do you think, because we had this conversation with you a while back, and you were telling me about the game of numbers in politics. Now, do you think if Gen Zs vote in 2027, do you think it will affect the margins and the political fever up there?
I think it is going to be quite insignificant. And it's a very good question, by the way, because immediately the Gen Z process, you saw the president did a mega rally in at the coast, he did another one in Nyanza. Do you know what the president was trying to show you people? That you see, there's a very small proportion of people on Twitter. The ones that were holding the Twitter spaces, and those ones for me, they represent the elites.
Yes.
Wale wase wameenda uni, wale wenye wamefika form 4, wamepita nini. But the president was trying to say that kuna disconnect, and I agree. Kuna disconnect between wale watu wako Twitter wenye wako politically woke na watu wako kwa ground. There's somebody pale kwa ground mwenye the only thing that matters is mtu wao. Mountain, Murima.
Lazima usiguze.
Usiguze. The only thing that matters to him ni hiyo mle. But kuna msee kama wewe mwenye you can reason and say, by the what does this guy stand for? What does this guy stand? So I think for me, ile proportion yenye bado iko illiterate pale chini na ambayo ndio iko na numbers kabisa bado ni mingi sana. So we have a lot to do if we are to make any meaningful change in 2027. We have a lot of work to do. That is why I say that in 2027 I don't expect much. See, expect much sababu even the people wenye tuna agitate as Gen Zs, we are not voting. And I doubt kama ita change. Most young people bado mimi naona tu ni kama wata vote. So we have to offer ourselves for elections. Yeah, tuseme kwamba we mwas bana uende uvai pale MC ama MP.
Nilishaamua.
Nilishaamua
nasimama MCA kwetu.
Iko sawa. So mvotie huyu jamaa ikifika hiyo time, and I think that is part of the ways zenye tunaweza tumia tu. Benye naiona 2027 ni ngumu itakuwa ngumu bado kushinda Ruto.
Mtu asitegemee eti Gen Z wata nini.
How fast we forget? Tuna forget haraka sana kama majenzi. Ni jana tu. Then ni ngumu. Let's just hope for the best, and I think that tushaona what we can do as young people. It is now time for action. Sasa ma stories iishe ni action tu sasa peke yake. You next year I think politics itaanza, 2026 they kick off, 2027 ndio hiyo ni election. Na hata kumeona kumekuwa na hiyo proposal ya ku increase the term limits from 5 years to 7 years. So that is part of the thing that is going to shape the dynamics of politics 2027. So young people, the ball is on our court.
True.